Alright, so, hello. I'm Neth. I am a rat, and I just came back from my first furry convention, which was Eurofurence 27 in 2023, right? And this is my story hour. I have a bunch of notes written down, of shit that happened, uh, and I guess I can share my experience, right? Also, if you guys have any questions, you ask me like, oh, how are you? How did it go? Did you like it? Yes. As a bottom line, I liked it. To be a little bit more descriptive, I feel like this was very much so a life-changing experience for me. Um, it was incredible. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much. Okay, so to go into chronological order a little bit. Um, my stay was 5 days. It was 4 nights, so it was 5-ish days, right? I got there. The con was from Sunday to Wednesday. It began at the beginning of Sunday and at the end of Wednesday. I got there like Saturday evening, and I left Wednesday afternoon. So I didn't even stay until the end of the convention, which was at the end of Wednesday. I actually had to leave before then because during my planning of this, there was basically almost zero planning that went into me going to this convention. I was just like, I'm gonna book a hotel, a flight, and gonna get the regged in the con, and that's about it. That's like the extent of my preparation. Which, in retrospect, I think for a first con, it's fine. Those are like the bare essentials, right? For you to be there and have a place to sleep. But I could have done like 4 or 5 or other different preparation things that would have made it a lot better. I could have tried seeing who was going. I could have tried having a roommate. I could have planned like where I would eat or what I would do or know the events that were gonna happen before going there. Like at least a little slightly. Yeah, and Jairus I wanted to see Jairus. He was the only person I knew who was going, right? And he I don't know if he was the only person who knew who he knew probably not, right? But that Jairus was the only person I like planned on seeing, which was very minimal, especially when considered I knew he was going to be con staff, and I knew he was going to be busy and wouldn't be able to chaperone me around like I would want, right? Honestly, I wanted like somebody to walk around the entire con with, like, go to all the events and parties and stuff together, and that would have been a great time. But I knew that wasn't gonna happen, and I was extremely nervous when I went into the convention because I wasn't prepared, right? I am a furry, and I have been one for 14 years, roughly. Like when I was a wee kid, a wee teenager, and I was into transformation and fantasy creatures, I stumbled upon the fandom and discovered my sexuality through it, right? And I've been intellectually accustomed and learned of the fandom for a long while. And only like, I don't know, when I was like 17 or 18, I decided to actually like dive in, make a persona, start making art, and become like an active member of the furry community. And even then, it wasn't really. I kind of stayed to my little corner, like talk to people when they talk to me, and that's mostly what I do nowadays too. But now, like a few years into this, I'm now reaching out to people and making friends in the furry circle, and that is something new and exciting and interesting. And that brings me to why I wanted to do this convention, right? I feel like this was the most exciting thing I've probably ever done, which is kind of sad. Furry conventions happen all the time, a lot of furries go to it, but also every furry fucking loves it, so understandably it would be fucking amazing. I don't go out to parties. I have friends that I meet up sometimes, but it's very rarely. And I never go out for more than a few hours every time, like a few hours a month potentially. This was like this was me stepping out of my comfort zone, like, a lot. This was me, like, you know, being, like, staying out in the pool in a really hot day in 30-degree weather, like, you know, having put sunscreen on my fur and just laying out and toasting myself, and then being like, you know what, I'm gonna go, like, in the deep end, just dive right in, completely, like, thermal shock. That's what it felt like I was doing. I hope I see you in next year at the con. Yeah, I hope to make it as well. I was extremely nervous. I was extremely nervous because, again, as I just said, I've been a furry for 14 years. I am very educated as to what happens on in the furry fandom. I don't know it firsthand because I don't know very many furries in person, and I don't interact with them in person very often. But I know about what happens in conventions. Capital K. I know, all right? Like, I'm aware. I followed a podcast called Furcast for a long time before I made a Fursona and after. And they disbanded and drama happened and people are hurt, but in that regard. But for their lifetime of like 12-ish years, they talked about their experience as furry lifestylers, people who lived with furries, hang out with furries, worked at furry-related jobs, worked at every single convention, went to 4 conventions a year, you know? And I listened to them for many years. So through the people of Furcast, namely Paradox and Pharaoh, who were the main hosts. If you know their names, you're old, okay? You're old if you know these names. They're gone. They've been gone for like 6 years, ish. Since their experience has been going to every furry convention. They know all the big furries. They've hung out with all the big furries. They party like animals, like the animals that they are, okay? And I know about everything that went to about going to a convention, except I've never been to one. All right, I know, and they sung the praises of furry conventions for many years. They're like, if you're a furry, you need to go to a furry convention. It's like if you're religious and you want to go to like your religious place, right? Like if you're Jewish, you want to go to like Jerusalem, right? Or whatever. If you're Christian, you want to go to fucking Italy, you know? Hello, Zeth. Welcome in. It is story hour. If you're a furry, your religion is to go to a furry convention. I knew this intellectually, you know, but I was like, I don't know if it's worth it. You know, it's probably... I've gone to conventions. I've gone to comic book conventions. I've gone to anime conventions. You just go there, kind of like walk around. Maybe there's like some event that's mildly, maybe a little bit interesting, so you can waste your time there a little better than just walking around aimlessly. But the majority of what you do at a convention is just go to like the artist alley place, like the place where you buy stuff and you leave, and you hang out with your friends maybe a little bit and drink a little bit, right? But you don't even need to stay there until after hours, because there are no after hours. Like in those conventions, they close at like 8 in the afternoon, and you just leave, and that's fine, you know. But that's the experience I had. This furry convention was not that. And it was very different. And I knew this intellectually, which, again, is why I was nervous. This is what I'm going to be circling back to. At the beginning of the convention, I was very, very nervous and scared. And at the end of the convention, I didn't want it to end. I got hit with mild PCD, which is post-convention depression. I left so much money. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me, Jared. Yeah, I fucking... Alright, you know, yes. I also left a lot of money at the jeweler's den. I left like 500 euros there. And I could have bought more, but I was like, it's probably not worth it. And I already spent enough, so I was like, you know what? Never mind. I could have made a fursuit with that money, okay? I could have made a fursuit with that money. Which is another thing I'll speak about. soon. The first day I got there, on Saturday. Saturday was the day before the convention. I learned when I got there that there was an event related to this convention already on Saturday. There was a boat party happening. Like, they used to host the convention in Berlin, and this is the first year they moved to Hamburg. For multiple different reasons I'll speak about shortly. Show us what you got. No. I'll tell you, maybe, but not show. Because I can't. I'm not taking out my fucking phone, right? To take pictures of it. There was, in Berlin, they used to have a boat party. Like, they rented a boat and would have a party in it. Literally rave, music, drinks, you name it. Meeting other furries in fursuit, dancing, etc. And I guess, like, the Berlin's waterways aren't that good. Or they're, like, at least less than Hamburg. So the boat party in Hamburg was probably even bigger and even better. Maybe not because they changed venues, they changed cities, but it was big. And I missed it because I got there at the time that it started, all right? So I got there on Saturday. I got there like late afternoon. I only had time to eat and go to the grocery store and nothing else. Their restaurants close at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. if you're lucky, which is ridiculous. Restaurants here close at, midnight or, 11 or 10 at the earliest, and then they open up the bar section and you can still order food from the restaurant. So I got there at 6 or 7 and I was like, I'm totally chill. And then I went in Google Maps and saw that closes in 1 hour, closes in 30 minutes, closes in 2 hours, closes in 1 hour. And I was like, holy fuck. So I just left and I went to the first restaurant that I saw. It kind of sucked. I had to wait a long time. The food was okay. The food was good, but like it wasn't worth the wait and the fucking cold that I was there. It was okay, right? Afterwards, I went to the grocery store because I needed to buy condoms in case I got lucky. Snacks because I don't know if I would miss meals or not, and water because I didn't have any. And what you need hydration, and I don't know how the water is in Berlin. That tap water in Berlin is. And soap, because you're not allowed to bring a bar of soap in the flight, so I only had like shampoo and conditioner. So I needed soap. And I went to the grocery store and I got my stuff and I went to the cashier and the cashier didn't speak a word of English. And I was like, this is fine. And I'll just take out my app and I asked him, is this going to be a problem? And he was like, problem? And I was like, fuck! What did I fucking say? I shouldn't have said that word. As soon as I said that, I was like, shit. And then he was like, he didn't like check in my groceries at all until I made a 1 second sign and I took out my translating app and I was like, shit, fuck. And I was like, there wasn't a problem. I was asking if there was a problem, and I showed him and he was like, oh, okay. I just want to scan my groceries. And he scanned my groceries and he told me, he said several things that I have no idea what it meant. You hoped for if I hoped for fuck, yeah, of course. I know what happens at furry conventions, Glamrock. I mean, Jerez, okay, like it's a lot of fucking. I know for a fact. I know that happens at every convention. In fact, every convention, especially furry conventions. If there are room parties, there is sex. Okay, I know for a fact that there was a ton of sex at the hotel I went to, but obviously I didn't know anybody, so I'm not gonna fucking show up to fucking room party I don't know anybody at. Okay, whatever. I know that happens. Okay, cuddling leads to aggressive cuddling. I digress. So yeah, that was probably the worst experience of the entire trip. Like talking to the cashier and him not speaking a lick of English, and me having to fucking like just smile and wave and nod and take out my app and tell him what he wanted. For a fact, you say, look, yes, I know intellectually because of information I have prior, right? I know that happens because that's everybody that goes at a convention talks about it, right? I don't think I heard anybody, but I know of people who had sex there, okay? So, and I know of people who are very sexual to the same hotel I went to, okay? Like, fact as in, obviously I didn't hear or see anything, but, I don't know what you mean, Jerez. Anyway, yeah. And then I just fucking, you know, I went to sleep and I tried to plan my day and like install the Eurofurence app on my phone, and that was that. Okay, the first day, I was pretty, like, if I can describe it in one word, or two, I would describe them in starstruck and surreal. Like, I was there, first of all, the reg line opened at 9, I got there like 8:50. It was pretty big, but nowhere near as big. Jesus Christ, like, people were registering until like way into the afternoon, and the line was ginormous. This was fucking LineCon 2023. You didn't smell anything either. I did not. Everything was pretty clean, thankfully. Actually, sorry, took meds. I feel a bit dizzy. Yeah, please take care of yourself, Jerez. Actually, that's something I'm pleasantly surprised by. I was expecting the convention to smell like ass or, you know, armpit, whatever, you know, whatever you're into. And it didn't. I was pleasantly surprised. I heard that is a big prevalent issue. But apparently everybody followed the 6-to-1 rule, or most people, or at least the part where the 1 is included. The 6-to-1 rule is the rule where you sleep for 6 hours a day, at least have 2 warm meals, and not just potato chips and cookies, and you have 1 shower a day, at least. You were helping unregistered, right? Well, you missed me, okay? I got there very early. In the day, and I got my badge pretty quick. It was surreal and stunning to me, like going to the convention. Like, I've seen fursuits before, right? Like at the anime conventions, for comic book conventions, you see them around sometimes. Rarely, but you do. I lived in Belgium, and a couple of times when I went to like the movies, I would see a fursuit there for whatever reason, because they have like pretty fursuit friendly venues that you can just hang out at. So I've seen like maybe, like, I don't know, a little bit less than 10 fursuits before going to this convention. And, you know, you just see 10 fursuits in the first fucking 5 minutes of going there. Like, it's very stark, obviously. And obviously, again, I knew this intellectually. Of course, furry conventions are where you take your fursuit to fursuit at, right? Because everybody else already knows how to treat you as a fursuiter. There's a lot of support from the con staff, and you have people to help you individually as well, right? You have your handlers. And if you don't have a handler, like, everybody else knows to like keep a wide berth, make sure to not tackle you from the side, give you like plenty of vision. If you fall down from heat exhaustion, you know, people are prepared. If you visit again and need help, ask me. I'll ask you. I might. I didn't, and I'll get to that. But yeah, seeing all of the fursuits, seeing people hugging each other as a greeting, seeing people cuddle in public, like in a little chair or couch or like sidewall, like seeing people dressed like with tails, and like everybody having their badge and artwork of their persona, like it was very like stunning, you know. It was I kissed the wall. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's an expression or if you literally kissed a wall. Because you've seen shit. Sure. Oh my god, hi. Hello, Safichu. The thing on Twitter, how was the con in 3 words? I have 3 words that describe the con. Hold on. Magical, surreal, and life-changing. In 3 words, that is how I would describe my con experience. It was amazing. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Again, when I went into it, I was extremely nervous. I knew sort of what to expect, but I also know intellectually that a con will go as well as the number of people you have to hang out with. If you go to a convention and you don't have anybody to hang out with, you're not going to have that great of a time. Because yeah, you can go to the events. Yeah, you can go to the panels and the theater show and to the dance. But if you don't have anybody to talk to and hang out with, you're just going to be walking around alone and looking at other people have fun while you sit in the corner. I know that intellectually. And it wasn't the case for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Jarez was there. So, like, he was my main plan. Like, Jarez was my main plan. Hey, you still have a shirt? No, you took off my jacket. All right, you already took a piece of clothes. My scent is pretty impregnated into it as well, okay? Like, you need to be satisfied, all right? You get to see my chest and belly, okay? Jarez was my plan A, right? If I didn't meet it, or I guess plan B. I don't know, honestly. I was just like, I'm just gonna go there, probably hang out with Jarez and not gonna have that great of a time because he's gonna be busy, right? But thankfully, something else happened, like right on the first day. Like in the reg line, like I don't know, an hour or two in of me waiting, the furry behind me, a wolf named Alex, was like, "Wait, are you a streamer? You're a streamer, right?" He was like, "Excuse me, but you're a streamer. You're Neth. I've seen your D&D preparation streams." And I was like, "No way! Oh my god, yes!" And then we talked, and we went our separate ways. But I had met somebody, and like throughout the con, I met him again a few times, and then we hung out together many times. And then I met his friends, and then I hung out with his friends, and then his friends. You know, shark. I saw a shark. Yeah, I think they were shark. They could have been some other furry species. Hello, Nethanol. How's everybody doing? I have mixed feelings about how I'm doing. I'm very happy about the convention I went to. I am sad that it is over. And I'm talking about it. Whoa, famous. Okay. RK. I'm not saying I'm famous. I'm not. I'm definitely not. Holy shit, I'm not famous. Especially nobody knows my face. And I intend to keep it that way for at least a little bit more time. There was a chance, I'll put it like this. There was a chance somebody would recognize me. It wasn't guaranteed. I was hoping it would happen, but it wasn't guaranteed. And it happened only like once, basically. Like Alex was the only person who knew me before. And I was like, holy shit. First of all, like, to think of that, the only person who recognized me, other than Jarez, who we had planned to see beforehand, to meet it beforehand, other than Jarez, I didn't know anybody who was gonna go there who knew me. And to think that the only person that knew me was the guy behind me at the reg line is insane. Like, that happens the first thing you do when you go to a furry convention. So basically, the entire time of the con, I knew somebody who was there. It was also his first con. Netface Reveal 2023. I mean, maybe, actually. Like, you say that sarcastically. I know your face. Yes, I know your face. You know my face. Glamrack, I know yours. Okay. Oh, yeah? Yeah? Yeah, so that was the first day. So the basically only two things that happened during the first day were that, the reg line, and I had food, and I hung out with people a little bit, and the opening ceremony. I think the opening ceremony is eventually going to be put onto YouTube, I hope. I really fucking hope. But that was magical on another degree. Like, the opening ceremony was so fucking sick. Objectively, let me tell you exactly what the opening ceremony was about. Actually, no. You know what? As I said earlier, but that part got cut out, the Eurofurence printed like a daily news article that they printed like in newspaper, and they put at several points throughout the convention, and obviously I have one. And hello Dirk, welcome in. They printed a newspaper, and obviously I have it in my hand right now, and it actually describes the first day of the convention, the reg line and the opening ceremony, which were the two biggest things that happened. So I will now proceed to read this. The theme of the convention, first of all, before I start reading, was black magic. So anything doing to do with like witches, demons, and dark spooky magic. So the title of the newspaper is "Familiar Ingredients Make a New Brew," and I will proceed to read. Let me just lower the volume of the music a little bit. The opening ceremony pulled out all the stops from the potion bottles. The opening ceremony benefited from a striking visual design, with a well-made physical witch's cauldron prop at the stage complementing 3D renderings of a cute fox magician. Pause there. Yeah, there was a little, like, in the screens, in the big screens. Hold on, if I can... Actually, I'm gonna go back to the stage picture. Here. There. Oops. Fuck. Can I pause somehow? I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. Here we go. This was the main stage. And there was a little, like, screen. There was a stage. There was lights. It was fucking... obviously, furries are omega extra. And for their like, furries prepare lights and sound and engineering design for all sorts of venues and their jobs. And obviously, for their convention, they have to go all out. Furries are omega extra. They had, like, in the little screen, there was an animation of a cute fox mixing ingredients into a cauldron, and every time she put a new ingredient into the cauldron, like, a new part of the convention would be showed off. They mostly showed off the main events at the main stage, but they talked about multiple other things. Jackal says, also doing good. I've been awake early today, which is rare for me. Woke up at 8 or 9 a.m. my time today, and now it's noon. I see. Anyway, yeah, they were called Mistyfur, I guess. Mistyfur. There were so many... Okay, before I continue reading, there were so many fucking puns. Dude, there were so many furry puns at all times. Nobody ever referred to hands as hands. It was always paws. No, you know, like, nobody talked about mouths. They only talked about maws. Things like that, you know? It was like surreal on another level. It was like all the furry cringe shit that happens that you see online, and when it's not in a furry context, it's cringe. But when it's in this context, it's funny, appropriate, like, familiar, heartwarming, and, like, ideal. It's insane. I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was expecting myself to cringe at the mention of paws, at the mention of muzzles, etc., and not be, like, stricken with tears that I'm like, oh my god, this is funny. And yeah, you're right, I do have paws, and I do have a muzzle. I am a furry indeed, you know? Like, yes, you recognize me as my persona, which is like, it was very touching. It's very strange. It was a strange feeling, which is, it's part of the reason this was all surreal and magical and whimsical, you know? Anyway, proceeding to read the newspaper. The great wizard, Mistyfur, was especially pleased to announce that this greatest work of magic, summoning the convention into his home city of Hamburg, was complete. This meaning the return of the fursuit parade. He also emotionally announced his coming retirement from fursuit support duties from this year's convention. Many departments added to the content of the cauldron for successful Eurofurence, most memorably a wrench from Conops and artist supplies from the art show and dealer's den department. We also saw a special tribute to Jeriak, commemorating his long service and the Eurofurence stage team. Pause again. Okay, first of all, Jeriak, he's a fox. Obviously, every fucking furry is either a fox or a wolf. I say as I'm like a rat. He's called the Fix-It Fox. Literally, he's been in the convention for 25 years. Almost as long as I've been alive. Like, holy shit. Like, he's been in the fucking convention since the fucking 1998. Mistyfur was my boss. Yeah, he's the old con chairman, right? Oh, he was your area boss. I see. Well, I'm glad you got to meet and talk to him. It's crazy, man. Like, I'm still like taken aback by what happened, and thinking about all of it like brings tears to my eyes. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Jarek was like been at EF helping engineer the stage lights, helping with anything engineering, lighting, sound design, anything like technical support, at everything at all, for 25 years. I know, again, intellectually, all of these facts. I know that furries have been in conventions for a long time. I know that they're really but like, you know, seeing it, whatever. It was really something else. This year's charity, You Animals, was described, and the special urgency of their needs were made clear. Charity contributions go towards supporting their work and helping different species, especially exotic species, in the war-torn Ukraine. Foresters can also, again, volunteer to collect for charity by contacting the security desk. Finally, Cheetah himself took the stage, the chairman wearing notably unwizardly garb. He described the reasons and hurdles of the convention moving to the new venue, compounded by the increasing attendee count, which at the time stood 3,500. Having additionally noted the friendly, open character of Hamburg, he declared the convention open. Why EF moved? Okay, so this is a pretty big deal about this convention. EF has always been in Berlin, and this year they moved to Hamburg. So it was a mess, I imagine. I didn't feel it at all, but I wasn't, con staff. And so allegedly they had to like do everything and on a fucking napkin, right? But oh boy, Uncle Kage story time. I miss Uncle Kage story time. I went to like half of the first half, so I only did a quarter of it. And because I know of Uncle Kage, I know the shenanigans they get up to. I don't think I need to hear it more times, and especially because I already listened to it before. Anyway, they moved to Hamburg, right? And so like they were definitely not prepared to do everything. Like I had to reg for the con. I didn't know where it was until very late, and I hope that this year I can reg like with plenty of time in advance and maybe get a roommate or whatever. Built from scratch in 6 months, exactly. Which is insane. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, you have the people, right? You don't have to hire all of the people, or the equipment. You just have to move it there. But yeah, like that's like very little considering you need to find a venue, ask them everything that needs to be done, and organize everything. The stage, the fucking like places, the contracts, the hires, the everything, The app, there's so many apps. Dude, like I'm aware that it was like an incredible feat of blood, sweat, and tears that is now gonna be that blood, sweat, and tears not only went into making a really good con that had basically no problems, but also it's work that you don't have to do next year, which is amazing. Continuing to read the document. Why EF moved to Hamburg? As some of you might have noticed, we're not in Berlin, and the con location looks nothing like the Estral. During the past 9 months, there have been many questions about EF's change to the venue to the CCH being Convention Center of Hamburg. We asked Cheetah, who was nice enough to make some time. So they asked a bunch of questions to the chairman, the current chairman of EF, and they answer. Question number 1. Why did EF move to a new venue? And then he responds, there is something very comforting about returning to a venue you know well. You are accustomed to the processes, know every manager by their first name, the number of every network socket. You really do not want to move because everything is so safe and well known and just works, right? Well, at some point you might start outgrowing your venue and they will start struggling to provide you with the services you need. It's a gradual, slow saturation of capacities, and eventually it will begin to stress your business relationship. I can't go into details of how and why exactly, but the gist of the matter is that we probably should have done it earlier and now face a situation where a move became inevitable. Question number 2. Why move to Hamburg and not to somewhere else? He responds, with the CCH, we found a new venue that not only matched all our technical requirements, but is also located in an absolutely wonderful location, right next to a giant park, ideal public transportation options, and many hotels in walkable distance. It's also much more beautiful and safer environment than the very isolated Estrel Hotel. Hamburg simply is an awesome city. And I have to agree. Okay, but I'm going to take a tangent here again and talk about the differences between a convention that is hosted at a convention center and a convention that is hosted at a hotel. Those are the two different kinds of conventions that exist. The ones that are hosted at hotels, and a hotel specifically, if you get a room at the main hotel, you have an amazing time. And the more distance your hotel is from the main hotel, you have a worse and worse time, right? If you're not there, it's amazing. If you're like at any other hotel, it's worse, and then it gets worse and worse the longer distance you have to travel, right? If it's hosted at a hotel. Why? The main attraction of a hotel-hosted convention are the room parties and the interactions between you and your fellow furries. There's events. There's like small panel rooms, and maybe like a big panel room. Maybe there's a stage, a dance stage, or like a theater stage for you to do like things. But the main attraction is hanging out with other furries, like hanging out at the main lobby, hanging out in other people's rooms, cuddling people in fursuit and out of fursuit, and doing other things. All right, very sexual things in other people's rooms, and in your room, in underwear, not in underwear, etc. And those are like the more liked ones because they're less professional, right? Like, the thing about the furry fandom and furry conventions in general, it's almost like a gathering of family. It's a gathering of family and friends. Like, I could go up to any furry, ask where they're from, ask what their persona is, ask how long they've been in fandom, what they're thinking about the convention, right? It's a convention. You have a common interest. If I go to a comic book convention or an anime convention, I ask them what is their favorite anime, what are their favorite characters. If I'm not into that shit, then I'm not going to be talking to them at all, right? But furries, for a lot of furries, is almost a lifestyle. So you can learn a lot about people, right? Like, you can learn, for me specifically, I'm a not safe for work furry, right? I draw porn and I talk with people about that stuff. I'm a streamer. I interact with other streamers. I've carved my little space in the furry community. I took like a little corner and made it my own. But like a corner of a huge community that I'm a part of, that I can connect with anybody through it, right? So, a convention is like you meeting all of your friends. Not only your friends, but your extended friends. It's like a family of 3,000 people. Like, you go up to somebody who knows you, and then you meet the people that they know, and then the people that those people know, and then the people that those people know, you know, and then soon enough you've gathered like 50 to 100 people that you know, and that you hang out with, that you see in the convention, that you go out to lunch with, that you rave at the dance stage with, that you laugh at with in the theater. It's different. It's conventions are amazing, and I'm glad I went. I'm sad I didn't go sooner. I'm sad it ended, and I'm excited for more. And I'm more free than I've ever been before. It's really amazing. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Even though, again, intellectually I knew. I digress. The two kinds of conventions. There is, the hotel conventions and the convention center conventions. The convention center conventions are more professional, and the hotel conventions are more homey. That's like the best way to describe them, like analogously, right? The convention center ones they're centered around events. They're centered around there being panels and plays and charity events and things like that. And there's like a main venue where you like hang out in, and there's stuff that you can do at every point in the day, right? And you might not like the stuff that you go to, that you might not like everything, so you pick and choose what you want to do, right? It's all about going to the dealer's den and like taking pictures with the fursuits. And right outside the convention center, you know, which is open to the public, you know, it's right next to, you know, this is a park, it's a public park. You see all the fursuits interacting with people who pass by, and they're like, what the hell, what is this, what is that? And I'm like, somebody, a woman like walked up to me and asked me what this was, and I was like, it's a furry convention. Furries are anthropomorphic creatures, and this is like a gathering of them. And we're like, thank you, and stuff. And seeing all the fursuits like interact with the little kids, and like old ladies taking pictures of like groups of fursuits, and fursuits like fucking taking like a speaker outside and fucking jamming out, and it's amazing. And obviously that's not what a hotel convention is about. They're about different things, right? The main comparison you can do, if you know about the conventions of the US, which is the conventions I knew about and I know about, is Midwest Fur Fest, MFF, and Anthrocon, which is AC. Anthrocon is the PR convention. It's the equivalent of Eurofurence, right? It's events, meeting like the outside people, and like kind of like being safe for work furries. And Midwest Fur Fest is a hotel convention, and it's about meeting with the people that you've known for years, hang out with them, going to dinner, going for food, fucking in the rooms, and like maybe going to the like a panel or two if you're hosting them, etc. Right? They're different. They're for different things. Obviously, both things happen at both conventions, right? Obviously, like in this convention, there was a lot of sex, as I mentioned earlier, but it's not the main focus of it, right? The main focus isn't the hotels. It's the convention center. I spent all of my time basically at the convention center. I spent at the least amount of time possible at my hotel room because it wasn't where all the furries were. You want to be where all the furries are. If you're at a hotel, every furry is either in the main lobby or in the rooms and walking around the rooms, right? If you're at a convention center, everybody goes to the convention center and not the hotel, you know? That's how that works. Yes. I was reading the questions. I was reading the reasons why they changed. And Eurofurence went from a hotel-based convention to a convention center-based convention, which is interesting. I'm excited and interested to see how this develops, because from people who've gone to both, right? I want to go to a con so bad. Everyone I've spoken to said they're amazing. Right, Patchy? Same. Okay? Literally, exactly. Right? Everybody I've ever talked to says they're amazing and like transforming and whatever. But like, they're fucking expensive to go to. It's inconvenient to like plan it, and you have to plan it like 8 months in advance and stuff like that, right? But, you know, it's worth it. I don't know what to say. The reason why I chose now and not earlier or later is because I'm coming into an early life crisis. Okay, I've been inundated with existential dread. To be honest, I am afraid of dying. I'm just gonna skip. I'm just gonna hit you with that for now. Okay. And I know that the only thing that will counter that, again, intellectually, is being satisfied with what I've done in my life thus far, you know? If I'm happy with what I've done thus far, then I can go peacefully. There's nothing else you can guarantee while you're alive. Unfortunately. You know, this is very existential. And me getting out of my comfort zone, meeting people, living the life experiences I want to live is a big part of that, right? Like, people have bucket lists for a reason. It's because things you want to do before you die. Why? Because you want to be able to have lived a fulfilling life. And this is where I start. This is where it started for me. I knew factually that going to a furry convention is exactly what I needed. Hello, Minty. Good evening. I'm talking about the convention I went. I recommend you go to Eurofurence. It's like a fucking $1,000 to go to, but it is worth it. 1,000 euros. Plane, hotel plus convention ticket. But in a year, it is like feasible to save up, right? If you cut a lot of corners, it is story time, story hour. Yes. Anyway, as I was saying, I was reading the news article, the newspaper, about why they moved to Hamburg. Why I moved to Hamburg and not to somewhere else. Right. There were rumors that furries behaved so badly that the Estral kicked us out. Is that true? No, absolutely not. It was our decision to move. Was it stickers? No, which doesn't mean that putting stickers on private property is acceptable in any way. Smile. Yeah, stickers are an issue because furries have a shit ton of stickers, okay? Like, I saw stickers everywhere. Not, like, glued on stuff. Like, loose stickers that people just, like, gave out. And they're really cute and hot in some cases. But if you glue them to the wall, they're almost impossible to remove. So they have to like call in special like companies to get them removed, and they're really expensive. They cost thousands and thousands of euros to get cleaned. You're gonna setting up your life and moving to the mainland. Yeah, I remember. It's gonna be several years before you can, but I recommend when you do. That's one of the. It is very worth it. Why is everything so much more expensive? Two main reasons. First, it's the state of the economy overall. Everything is getting more expensive everywhere. Rising energy costs, inflation, the war, and venues trying to cover their COVID-related losses all contribute to an explosion in prices. There are also basic costs that do not scale linearly with the number of attendees. So moving from a smaller venue at full capacity to a bigger venue at small capacity will reduce your overall efficiency until you've grown into your new size shoes. I think stickers should be banned worldwide. No, because they're very cute. Like I bought stickers, I got given stickers, I found stickers, and I glued them all over my like tablet, and it's so much more furry, and it's so much okay, they're fine. They have their pros, okay? They're cute and good, but like not if you glue them to things that are not supposed to be glued on. Too. Why was the date for EF changed this year? Plain and simple. Availability. We'll do all we can to be back to a regular Wednesday to Sunday schedule next year. Fingers crossed. Yeah, cons are expensive. Eurofurence is not cheap. Same goes for Nordic FestCon. Trip and other stuff. Yeah. Like just the hotel. I guess I could have cut the cost in half for my hotel room if I found a roommate, but I wasn't gonna bother. Like I was already stressed enough as is. There was no way I was gonna get a roommate. The plane ticket, if you get it in advance, is not that expensive. I guess if you consider like 200 euros expensive or 100 euros expensive, right? Not that expensive. But yeah, it is. Yeah, the stay, the hotel, and like the hotel, the flight, and everything is really expensive. Which is why which is one of the reasons why I haven't gone before, right? If it was easy, I would have gone. If it was in Portugal, you bet your ass I would have been there. But it isn't, so I haven't gone. Now that I think about it, now that I've gone to a convention, if a convention was in Portugal, I would have only gone like during the day. Isn't there a con in Spain? I think so, but it's not Eurofurence. It's not Confuzzled or Nordic FuzzCon. It's probably I don't know. Right. Where was I? Convention. Costs? No. I'm gonna continue reading this newspaper. Why did it take so long to communicate the date and details? Negotiating a contract on this scale takes time, and it also turned out to be way harder than expected. Convention centers really do operate entirely differently than hotels do, and left us with a very steep learning curve to climb. We're sorry for the late announcement, but we really did not want to put another announcement out there that we had to revise later. The ink had to be 100% dry on the contract before we could say anything. Another question. How is the CCH liking us so far? They've been looking forward to Eurofurence coming to Hamburg since the very first day, and they're absolutely looking forward to seeing all the fursuits. I know for a fact that some of our caterers' employees have canceled their days off because they did not want to miss this event. Smile. Oh yeah, the like if there was a convention in Portugal, I'd probably go and only go during the day and like come back at night. And I'm gonna be honest, like some of the best hours of the convention are late at night when everything else is closed, like past midnight, when everybody's fucking drunk and you're just hanging out with your friends, like around a table listening to music. Those are the best, like having a drink. Those are the best times. And if it was in Portugal, I would miss that, at least for the first few conventions. And that's kind of a shame, and I'm low-key glad that I went to Eurofurence instead of a hypothetical convention that would happen in Portugal, right? Also, Portugal has, like, I don't know, maybe at the very most, like 500 furries. It's a really low number. There's no way that anybody ever is going to make a convention, especially considering that, like, this furry convention was in a big venue and a low number of people. It had 3,000 people. Like, imagine a furry convention of 500 people, and not even that. Maybe like a quarter of them would go. So like a convention for 500 people, that's just a fur meet. A convention for 100 people, that's just a big fur meet. You know, those exist already, and they're divided into the northern part of Portugal and the center part of Portugal, and also the southern. But you know, I don't know anything about that one. There are fur meets, but the conventions are not a thing. And I guess fur meets would be a good place to take a fursuit now that I think about it. But it's not a convention. Anyway, will we go back to the Estral? No. What do you think are the major advantages of the CCH? As I said before, the location of the venue and the environment around it really sets it apart from anything else we've seen. The choice of hotels, the major train station literally on the other side of the road, walkable city, the park, the greatest architecture and infrastructure. And a lot of space to grow. What disadvantages did we have to compensate for? Okay, this is the last question. The biggest disadvantages bring me back to question 1. Everything is new. So many things that we need to learn about the new place. So many things that we need to learn about us. Change is hard. Change is uncomfortable. You have misunderstandings, broken communication, people who need to settle into their new roles and tasks they've never done before. Your entire budget gets turned inside out and upside down because nothing works like you expect. But that's hopefully going to pass. And I seriously believe it's going to be worth it. And here, I completely agree with Cheetah. From what I've seen and experienced so far, the new venue has every potential to become epic. The team and staff of EF is doing their best. The rest is up to you. Yeah, and this was okay. Yep, north and center. And most Portuguese furs end up coming from Portugal. Some go to Germany. Yeah. I met other Portuguese furries there, and none of them lived in Portugal. None of them lived. I met a furry from Luxembourg and a furry from Austria, and I was like, wow, Portuguese furries, and I was like, okay, I guess. I would consider moving to Germany, maybe. I like Portugal. The thing is, I really like Portugal. Okay, like Portugal is really safe. And that is the main appeal of it, for the record. Okay. Having read the first news article of this, I kind of low-key regret it because I could be telling my story instead of reading this. But you get like the gist of the idea of what the hell the convention was about. Okay, so the first day, I didn't have time to write down anything. I went to bed. I went to my room relatively early at like midnight, and I slept early as well. because I was really tired because of the flight, and I woke up early for Reg and stuff. So I just kind of hit the hay, and I didn't have time to write about my experiences. However, on day 2, I did. Day 1, I was very starstruck and bedazzled and amazed at the ambiance at the opening ceremony, which was so good. Again, all the fucking puns, all the puns about people having paws. Like, don't awoo, it's illegal, you know. There was so many fucking awoos. People awooed so many times. I'm like, it was magical, okay? It was magical. Like, all the cringe shit that people make fun of furries for, people just did there normally. It was, again, transcendental and life-changing. However, did you swoop? I did not swoop. I also don't know what that means. On the second day, awoo. Did I awoo? I definitely awooed. Yes, I contributed. Even though I'm a rat, you know. Look, some rats howl. I know factually, okay? Look up kangaroo mice. They're vicious predators, and they're like 3 inches tall. Day 2 was a lot worse. The Starstruck having passed. I didn't have a lot of shit planned. I didn't go to very many events. It was the dealer's den. It was the first day the dealer's den was open. I went there. That is basically all I had planned. So after about the shit that I had to buy, I just kind of like walked around aimlessly, and I didn't hang out with the people that I had met. It was not as good. It was not as good. The stuff that I was fearful would happen happened, right? That being, I was afraid that I would not have people to talk to, and I would be lonely, surrounded by a sea of people. That is basically what happened. Second way wasn't that good, but you know, at the end of the day, like things like picked up, and I got to like hang out with my friends. There was karaoke at night. It was really fun. So it was still good. It was still, I would say it was a meh day. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of like had its ups and downs, and the downs were for most of the day, but it ended on a good note. And however, I did write down stuff on the second day, so which is why the coloring of my words is probably going to be not as good as the third and fourth day, which I did write about as well. All right, so I will read what I wrote down. Day 2, Eurofurence 27. Monday, the 4th of September, 2023. I slightly regret not having recorded my feelings during day 1 of EF, as they were more positive than today's. The TLDR of the con so far, day 1, was a win. The opening ceremony was incredible. Yeah, that was basically what I said. It was fucking amazing. I felt at home more than in a weird way, in a way I've never felt before. Day 2 was a loss. I spent most of my day not doing much and just walking around alone, which was, again, pretty true. To begin trying to recount the events of yesterday, the first day of the convention, the day started with a 2-hour queue for the badge registration, which would have sucked and would suck on paper, but instead, I was actually very starstruck by seeing some fursuits and taking in the gravitas of the situation. But more importantly, the guy behind me in queue recognized me as a streamer, and we spent most of the con so far together. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the person behind me in the queue like recognized me, and that literally saved my convention. I cannot stress that enough. He was a VR chat furry named Alex Peter. Not gonna lie, if it weren't for him, my con would be going 80% worse. Through him, I met another couple of furries, and it's been nice to be able to talk to anybody. Their names being Kipper Fox and Zornamith. All of these people hang out with each other on VR chat, which really makes me want to try it a bit more, or at least look into it. After Reg, I mostly just hang out until the opening ceremony. Firstly, I believe it ended up on YouTube, so I have to watch it again later. Not because it wasn't paying attention to the first time, but because it was fucking incredible. Life-changing shit. They did so many well-placed furry puns, and probably rewatching it, I won't like it as much since there was a lot of homages and congratulations to staff members. But even then, it made me feel like the whole staff and even the attendees are just one big family, which is pretty true. I felt, I don't know, seen, validated. I felt this part of my life put under a spotlight. Furry, for me, has always been my side thing, mostly. So coming to this con makes me feel like I'm in a place with like-minded people. When I hang out with other people related to gaming and school and stuff, I always feel like I can't go 100% with anybody I normally talk to. And I guess here is the same, but the vibes are different. The memes are different. It feels fulfilling and refreshing. Next, for the rest of the day, I mostly just hung out, had food, and did a bunch of chilling. I want to mention the fursuits. As a furry, I feel the need to get one, to make one more specifically. I feel like every suitor has the time of their life, gets more attention, and therefore can make more friends and have an overall better time. Yeah, that on a slightly tangential thing. Yeah, like I've postulated getting a fursuit before. Like, again, intellectually, I know that getting a fursuit is really very expensive, and if I would get one, I would only wear it like maybe twice a year at most. For sure, once if I go to FurryCon, or more if I go to like an event, you know? They're objectively not worth it, but they are incredible in those scenarios, right? So if you're willing to spend 4,000 euros on a fursuit to wear once a year, I think it's worth it for that one time a year. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you have that money laying around, or if you're willing to save up for that, I think it's probably worth it. For me, I don't have that money laying around. I would have to save for multiple years and probably not go to many EFs. And instead, I would rather go to the EFs and try and make my fursuit myself. I'm an artist, so I feel like I have at least a little capability. I watched some... I'm gonna have to spend like several days and several weeks looking into how they're made, like what it takes, and maybe even acquiring the skills to make some beforehand. The tutorials I saw thus far require a lot of like knowledge of how to sculpt and craft, and those I'm pretty good at, and gluing shit together with hot glue. But also stitching and sewing, and that I am not good at all. I have no experience with, so I don't even know if I'm good at. But if I can overcome that hurdle, I think I can probably do it. Fur is very expensive unless you know where to look. So yeah, several hundred euros in materials, like up to 1,000 euros is what I'm expecting. I feel like there's a lot that I must do if I want to do a fursuit. And I think it's feasible. Which is why I'm considering it, right? It's why I'm considering it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even think about it, right? I would be like, well, I guess when I fucking have a job and I have a disposable income, I'll drop like 4,000 euros on a fursuit. Anyway, that brings me to day 2. It definitely picked up here at the end of the day. There was no big event I went to, though I guess that's probably on me since I missed a couple of the main stage events. Yeah, there was the Uncle Kage's story hour I could have gone to and it would have been funny. It was only a couple of hours. I don't know if I missed that much, but yeah. That one thing I had planned for today was going to the dealer's end, which I did get to do. And it was quite surreal, like the other shop areas of other conventions I've gone to, but only furry things things I wanted to buy, and several things and people I really wanted to buy from. Yeah, like there's also that, like the dealer's den, like I walking around it and only seeing free shit I would buy is like normally in comic book conventions and anime conventions, you have to like kind of scour through the shops and to find things that are cool, like furry things and pins and whatever. It's kind of difficult. Here it was. If I could, I would have bought everything. But you know how many fucking tens, hundreds of thousands of euros that would be? Millions of euros that would go into that fucking convention. Like, holy shit. Like, I spent 500 euros on some posters, stickers, and like a couple t-shirts. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I'm glad I spent that money, and I'm glad I got the things. It was nice. At the dealer's then, there was also the art show, which was basically an art gallery. Also surreal. A fancy gallery, but with all furry art. It was like imagine going to an art gallery and only seeing furry shit. And all kinds of levels of furry things. Furry paintings, furry drawings that were like framed. Like, it's incredible. At least you got stuff I liked, yes. I'm a hop in. Oh. But most of my day was pretty meh and bad. Hello, Minty.
Hello. I wanted to hear you live because there's always a delay, but
Of course. I get to, having somebody to bounce off. I'm good. I did not get conquered because I respected the 621 rule. The 621.
The what?
621 rule. It is the rule that you must follow at every convention, which is get at least 6 hours of sleep, at least 2 warm meals, and at least 1 shower per day to prevent yourself from deteriorating and bettering your and everybody else's experience at the convention.
Yes. Let's see.
I forgot I could join the VC. Yeah, you can. Having people to bounce off of is nice.
Hello, room for one more.
Hello, RK. Welcome in.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if you wanted me to join or not.
You can. Oops. Let me grab your pictures. It's here, right? Is this it? No, it's this. Oh, you're stacked. Yeah, I wrote down the things that I wanted to say, and I'm reading them currently. Even though, again, I've been talking about it for like a long time. Like, if you ask me questions, I'll probably answer and go on more tangents, which is, I guess, ideal. That's what I'm looking for. But yes, my second day was kind of meh. Walking around alone, drawing alone, just overall wandering. It was quite miserable. It made me feel like, and it reminded me of a huge party where I don't know anyone. Objectively, that is the case. I had one friend I wanted to meet out of like 3.5k people who were around. Maybe a handful of other furs I'm acquaintances of, and a handful more furs who are well known and famous. It reminded me of my days walking around campus or walking around town in Brussels. Walking around and wandering in general is a pretty miserable experience for me, I guess. My newly met friends were even swarmed and occupied with different people, leaving me to my own devices. However, things picked up towards the end of the night, and I met up with my friends again, and we've been hanging out for the rest of the time. The lobby area of the con has some karaoke going on, and people's horrible singing combined with some nice music and a respectable audience. Makes me feel like a cozy pub where I'm sat down at a booth vibing with my buds, which is almost the case with all the facts of the statement. So, was it worth it? 50-50. One win and one loss. I think it probably will be worth it. It all comes down to how many European furries I can meet before the next EF. I'm still missing cuddles, but I got lots of fursuit hugs, so that's great. I'm hoping VR chat will help, and I want to try making a fursuit. Those are my ending thoughts of the second day. My first day was great. My second day was kind of 50-50-ish, because again, it was pretty bad for most of the time, but like it picked up at the end. The last day, the third day, was the best day out of all of them. which I will proceed to describe and read.
Yay.
Okay, actually, I'll begin with a prelude before referring. Knowing the stuff that went wrong on the second day, I corrected on the third, right? I planned and filled my day with as many events possible, and I only took breaks to eat, and maybe not even that. And at night, I planned to just like hang out like in the karaoke area to like vibe and stuff. So the moral is to always go with a friend. Yes. I can try to make it next year. I mean, if you want Cage, it's really fucking expensive, obviously. Like, to me, it was like 1,000 euros to go.
Yeah, it's
which is expensive, but it's like if you're saving up for an entire year, it's less daunting, because it's a once a year thing, right?
Yeah.
For like a US furry to come to EF, it's like an additional 1,000 euros on top of that, because the plane ticket is 1,000 euros more expensive.
Plane ticket, and then you have to also get
no, but the rest, like, I'm including everything else, like the travel
passport.
time. Oh yeah, I guess. But
that's gonna be a woozy.
Oh yeah, and you also don't have like mobile network here. Like if you're in like
Oh shit, that's right.
If you're from the US, like in Portugal, and like if you're from the European Union,
you're good.
Your roaming is free. You don't pay anything extra. You just have mobile data as if you were in your own country, which was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like $2,000 for a plane ticket. I mean, it depends. It depends. Oh wait, you're coming from... I don't remember where you're coming from. If you're coming from the East Coast, it's less expensive than going from the West Coast, obviously. If you buy it with a year in advance, it's obviously way cheaper. Yeah, that's like the biggest determining factor. Like, and like literally every month the price scales exponentially. Actually, Arcade, didn't you come to Ireland already? Are you like...
No, I'm going next month.
I see.
Yeah, a month from now.
How much was it, the plane ticket?
It is... The round trip was around, like, above $850.
Oh, that's not as bad. And also, you're coming from California.
I ordered it like months ago. So,
yeah, you ordered it 6 months in advance?
Yeah.
Yes. I remember. I told you to do it. I was like, you have 2 days to do it before the next price scaling happens.
Yeah.
And you did it. And you paid only 800 instead of 2,000. Like, it's just saying. Yeah. I've been to Europe before, and let me say that it's kind of a cultural shock. Yeah, that's true. Like, actually, that's another point. Like, I've never stayed in Germany. I've visited, because I lived in Brussels, and I traveled all over Europe for like a day at each country, maybe like a night. And the northern Europe and southern Europe are like two completely different places. They're not completely different, but they're very different. I did not feel a culture shock because I already lived in Brussels for some time. So I was like, it's just, I went there, I was just like, it's just kind of like how I lived in Brussels. It's not very different from that there. But it's very different from Portugal.
Yes. I can say also from experience, when I went to Sweden, that is very different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also,
and
also, I'm from the islands.
Oh, there's
even the islands is different from the mainland.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what the islands are like.
Yeah, you have to visit. It's on the island is only good for vacations. So if you want to experience the Breath of the Wild experience with nature and communion with nature, that's the place.
I see. I guess. Yeah, like the islands are like Portugal's Hawaii.
It's not too tropical. It's more naturey, very.
Yeah.
It's Breath of the Wild. It's Hyrule.
Sure. There's mountains and fields and stuff.
Mountains, the lakes.
Have you been to the USA? I have. I am American. So like, yes, I've been to my country, technically, quote unquote, technically. No, don't ever mention this to anybody. Saying that I'm American is an embarrassment. And I have double nationality, so I just say I'm Portuguese. Smile. But I did, but I did live in the U.S. when I was like 9 years old in 2008, or not, or no, 2006 or 7, whatever. You're American? Asks Demon Sylveon. Yes. I wish I was an American. Understandable. I don't have to wish. I get to experience both, like, I am American and Portuguese, which means that I can know how fucked I would be if I was only American, and then be glad I'm not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was okay. I recommend if you're going, okay, Gage, if you're planning on coming to EF as your first convention, don't go to like Texas Furry Fiesta, or the convention in Vancouver, which I don't know which one it is. There's 2 or 3 conventions in the West Coast. There's one in obviously Texas, there's one in Florida, there's one in Georgia. There's obviously the 2 biggest ones, which is IMFF and Anthrocon, which are respectively in Chicago. Is it Chicago? Hello, Asteron. Have you ever been to a furry convention?
Nope.
You should.
I really want to.
If you can spare the cash, obviously, which probably you can't.
Yeah. Nope.
It is worth it. I'll say, like, it's one of those things that's worth saving up for. It's like I was talking earlier how some religions have you doing like a trip to somewhere to pay your respect and become like an actual whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the same for a furry convention for furries. Like going to a furry convention is like a spiritual experience. You live 4 hours car from MFF. You also go there or AC in Reno. Yeah.
Although I hear people don't even really enjoy the convention. It's the showing up for. It's the reason for showing up for like hotels and everything.
Yeah, I talked about that already. That there are 2 different types of conventions. There are the hotel conventions, and there's the convention center conventions. The convention center conventions are all about events. It's all about the venue. It's all about being there, and going to the panels and parties and events, right? And it's really nice. You don't technically need to know anybody because you can just fill up your day with events, and you can just like listen to people on stage and like play games in the game panels and things like that. The hotel conventions, you do need to know people because it's all about meeting people, hanging out with people, going to room parties. Like the convention part of it is smaller.
It's
and
a slumber party.
It's a slumber party. It's a giant sex party all the time in every hotel room, but only at night. During the day, it's a cuddle pile that it devolves into a sex pile later on in the evening. You know.
I want the girly sleepovers where we just like tee
Look, there's so many of those as well. Like you don't need to.
I do want the girly sleepover.
I actually do want someone to do my nails. That would be so fucking fantastic.
Look, all furries are queer. I'm just gonna say that statement. That I feel like that is a lukewarm take. Even the straight furries are queer, so you know.
Yeah.
And so you know, for sure there's like cuddle parties of like asexual people. You know, like cuddling is an asexual activity. It is just fucking amazing. Okay, I'm too socially awkward for that. Look, that would imply that I'm an atheist. You don't have to be. Yeah.
I don't know why, but when you said asexual activity, I thought of paranormal activity. But like, instead of that, it's just asexuals. Just like, what are they gonna do? Not have sex. Oh god.
As a bonus, I think AC is the one WAF goes to, and MFF is what Boo's planning to go. I'm pretty sure that WAF goes to TFF, Texas Furry Fiesta. I think that's the closest one to where he lives.
I was about to say, I know he's American. I don't know where he lives.
I know
though.
he lives in Utah, I want to say. I don't know where Utah is. But yeah, I know a straight alt-right furry, which seems ironic. It is Utah. Yeah, I know. Like, no, okay, we're not gonna talk about that. I am also very socially awkward, and I just decided to go. Okay, like this is why I was so nervous going, because I had nothing planned, and I was dreading the worst. And the second day was what happened. Like the what I dreaded most did happen, and it wasn't even that bad. I mean, it was, but it was good when it ended.
Damn.
The only time you could possibly have a chance of seeing rare IRL WAF. Look, you can see rare IRL WAF's hands when he does cooking streams. When he did cooking streams, the VODs exist probably. Yeah, but Boost lives near MFF, and WAF I guess goes to AC. AC is nice. AC is again, it's like EF. I digress. Yeah, EF I guess was a hotel con, and now it's a convention center con. So that's interesting. I'm interested to hear the reports of people who used to go to EF for one reason, for before, and now that it's changed, what it's gonna be like.
Wait, just realized it's now a convention center type convention
Yes.
now, right?
Yes.
So what about hotels? You guys you guys go to like look for hotels, hostels, and stuff?
Yes.
Oh.
It's specifically the convention center they rented or whatever they got. It was a convention center of Hamburg. It's next to a train station, and it's next to like 10 other hotels and a huge park.
Smart.
So it's like the perfect location.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. Like there was a water and light show. Like you can see the pictures. Like I took that at the place.
Yeah.
There's like a huge area in front of the convention center where normies get to mingle with the furries, just like how AC does it. There's a park where people like line up to take pictures and shit during the fursuit parade. This is like Anthrocon but in Europe and done better. Because Uncle Kage, the chairman, the CEO of AC, came, and he had several panels and several shows, and he talked about, and he was like, just don't try to be cooler than EF. That's the one thing you can't do. You can try to be bigger or more, thicker or whatever, but don't just, they're always going to be cooler than you no matter what. And it was fucking cool. So,
Who was?
Uncle Kage.
Oh.
Your disappointment. I obviously.
I've never heard of him, so I don't really.
Oh, never mind. He is the again chairman of Anthrocon.
Right.
He made it, and has been a furry and doing furry conventions for like 30 years. So when he says that shit, I obviously take it as gospel, just about, or I take it as fact, I should say.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You'll find out later. I was like, well, actually.
I just remembered something about Uncle Kage. It was Pete and Uncle Kage sent a message to my friend Kuni about next time to him to come to the con, and also bring a bottle of Porto wine.
Oh, you know what? That would be a great idea for me.
Yeah,
He likes, like, wine is his persona. I don't know if he has a persona.
It's a cockroach, if I recall, wasn't it?
I think so. Wow. Okay, you're the second person to tell me this. I knew this, obviously. I think it was a cockroach, but he doesn't have a fursuit. I've never seen his persona. I know that I thought he had a cockroach persona, but I think that's just mostly for the lulz. I think his persona is the person who drinks wine. Every time I saw him at the convention, he had a wine bottle with a wine glass attached. Every time he did a panel, he was drinking wine. I never saw him without a wine glass in hand. I'm pretty sure he was drunk the entire time.
Bring a bottle of Porto wine next time.
I mean, yeah. I think you can. I think you can take alcoholic drinks in the plane, but they need to be sealed or something.
I do believe so. No, it depends where it goes. It needs to be stored.
Yeah.
If you're buying from like the airplanes, like
saying you can just take it in your carry-on, yeah. And if you're bringing it from outside, you need to put it in the luggage in the
and very much secure it because that thing
also
is shake
and shatter. And if I manage to somehow pull off making a fursuit by next year, I will be taking like luggage. Obviously, I'll be taking fucking thing to carry my fursuit. Hypothetically, very hypothetically, and that's where I would put the wine bottle. I think that's like a terrible fucking idea. Why would I?
Yeah, actually, no. You have to put a wine bottle. You have to make sure the wine bottle doesn't.
I need to bring like a cardboard box with like packing peanuts for the and like triple wrapped with bags with Ziploc bags.
Yeah, definitely you want that.
Or just fuck him and not bring a bottle of Porto wine. Why would I do that?
Oh, speaking of fursuit, I think there is one fursuit maker that's in Portugal, and now I don't know who, but there is one.
I believe so as well, but why would I do that when I can make my own?
Exactly. What I'm saying is, you gotta hit on that person, like tell them like, your secrets. Tell me your secrets. How you do fursuit, like advice.
Look, I know that's a good idea. Actually, I don't know how to sew. That's basically like my biggest downfall. I know how to do arts and crafts. There's multiple steps to making a fursuit. I can make the sculpt of it out of foam, most likely, but I'm gonna have a hard time like lining it with fur.
Yeah, you're gonna need to learn how to sew, and also it's a good idea to make contact to ask about materials.
Ooh, that's a good point.
That's the big part.
Yeah. Because fur is fucking expensive AF.
It depends
where you get it.
First,
I know
it's where you get it and the type. Because here's the thing. There's long fur. There's short fur.
I know. I'm aware.
And long fur. Don't forget, there's trimming and. It's not just using a fur. You gotta also clean that stuff. You gotta.
Yeah. I'm aware.
There is a care.
I am a furry. I know all of these things. Yes.
You're a furry. You know all these things.
That is yeah.
You better ask if.
But that is a good idea. That is a good idea because I don't know where to buy first. I don't.
Ask Beats. He knows how to in terms of fursuit care maybe.
All right.
And ask another person. I don't know who, but I think there is a fursuit maker
In Portugal.
It's just a matter of asking.
I'm aware.
Staley, I don't know anything.
That's fine. I guess. Okay. Most of my knowledge as a furry about the furry fandom and its inner workings comes from the podcast I used to listen to for several years before they collapsed, with Furcast, right? And they're furry lifestylers, and they talked about conventions, and they went on conventions all the time, and I learned the ins and outs of the furry community, of what it means to be a furry, of everything. Because I'm a really big podcast person. I really like listening to long form content. Honestly, that is what made me who I am, primarily, unironically. Like, that's how I discovered basically everything about every one of my interests.
I have a hard time sitting still listening to that. I have to have, like, something.
Look, no, I'm not. The thing is, I never am sitting still listening to a podcast. I'm using the podcast as background noise while I'm doing something else. And the thing is, I can absorb. I do both better if they're together. Which is interesting.
It's better with music.
Yeah, I mean, music is good, but only in short bursts to like hard focus on something, because then I get distracted. With the podcast, I work on both things, and like I can let my brain like take a break of either of the two things by moving to the other, you know. So if I'm like really focusing on the podcast, I'm not I'm taking a break from drawing, let's say, or playing games or whatever, and then when I'm playing to the game, I'm taking a break from listening to the podcast, but not like break, just like it's just whatever. It's better for me to manage my attention. But yeah, the third day of Eurofurence, as I said, was probably the best day because I filled it with events, and at the very end of the day, I made the executive decision of getting smashed and succeeded.
Wait, what?
Alcohol smashed.
Oh.
I should specify. Yeah.
Very safe word.
Yeah. So I'll read what I wrote on the third day, Tuesday, 5th of September. So a couple of days ago. My first preliminary thoughts are that I am currently, as of the time of writing this, the most drunk I've ever been in my life thus far, which is a really good sign, I believe. I tried to get drunk and succeeded, and had a great time. I think this was my best day. Objectively, I filled it with as many events as I could, and at the end of the day, when there was nothing going on but hanging out, I got to hang out. And then I said, the rats got me drunk. A very happy little accident indeed. And then the next day, I wrote in parentheses, I fell asleep, so I tried to write the most prominent thoughts before crashing. Yeah, I was very, the room was spinning and I wasn't in a room. I was outside. I guess I go into detail on the fourth day because then I sat down in the plane because I left on the fourth day to write down stuff from the third day. So I'll just read the stuff that I wrote for the fourth day. Okay, I guess I could talk about the rat thing. Okay, so I saw, like, by the second day, maybe like 2 other rats. I didn't see, obviously it's hard to tell what species somebody is when they don't have a fursuit because you have to look at their like little badge, or if they have art, you know, the art of their persona. And when you're just walking around, it's kind of hard to tell. So I only saw maybe like 3 or 4 rat fursuits, which is more than some other species I saw. I saw only 1 insect fursuit. I saw like a couple ferrets, lots of raccoons, tons of fucking like wolves and big cats. Obviously, those are the primary ones. Several protogens. But I only saw like less than a handful of rats. So I didn't know very many rats. At the third day, which was my last day there, technically, I was going outside to get some fresh air because it was getting warm inside. And I just like sat down on the table, and the table next over was like, "Are you a rat?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We're all rats. We just happened to do an impromptu rat meet and greet." And I was like, "Oh my god, my rat brethren, my brodents."
Brodents.
They were all rats. It was amazing. I was like, I didn't know of any other rat people. Hello.
Yeah.
It was incredible. They offered me alcohol, and I was like, yes, I want this. I want to get smashed. So, and I did. They offered me like a shot of Canadian whiskey, which was really delicious. It tasted like a maple syrup, and mead, and they gave me a glass of mead, which was like 20%, and I was like, okay, and I had it, and it tasted good, and it didn't burn. So I was like, nice. And then I was like, you know what? I need to go to McDonald's because I haven't had dinner yet. And I just had like 3 cocktails and the shot and this cup of mead. So I need to get some food into me so I don't die. And I went to McDonald's and it was closed. So I just died. I just had to recover like without food. So I had a lot of water at least, but
Oh god, drinking without eating is a bit dangerous.
Yeah, I then went to my hotel because I was like, I'm really drunk. And my hotel was the second closest hotel to the convention center. The convention center had a hotel that was like attached to it, but I don't think any other furries went to it. except maybe like a few who spent like big money to be there.
Of course.
And then like a few, I mean like a handful. And then, but I was at the second closest hotel, which was like less than 5 minutes walk. It was like across the park, and the park was it was like 300 meters away, the other hotel. Just like 100 feet. No, it's like 1,000 feet, I guess. Which is not that long, which is not that far. It was again 4 minutes walk. It was just like one like road, one wide, well illuminated road. So I just walked there, and I had snacks in my room, so I had those to try and like not to sober up. But again, it was really fun. Anyway, I digress. I will proceed to read my stuff from the fourth day. This is the longest writing. I only wrote basically on the second and on the fourth day, because the third day I was smashed and I couldn't read it. And on the first day I was too tired. So on the fourth day, this is what I wrote. Day 4 of Eurofurence 27, Wednesday, 6th of September, 2023. I didn't think I'd get PCD, and I guess it's not as bad as many other people are having it for sure. PCD stands for post-con depression, which is the word to describe the feeling of loss, distress, longing, and desiderium. That's like one of those obscure words. In Portuguese, we have a word to describe these feelings extremely well, and no other language in the world has a word that describes this feeling as well as Portuguese, which is saudade, which is it's a feeling of you missing it, you missing being there, missing not being at the party, not hanging out with your friends. Again, stress, longing, and loss. It's not very intense. It's more like of a melancholic, mild feeling, but it can be more intense. And in this case, PCD is intense. It's quite intense. But for me, it was somewhat mild because I didn't have the best possible time at the convention, right? My second day was kind of meh. So thankfully, it was like, if it was all good and I just had the time of my life the entire time, I would have been like, I don't want to fucking leave. I don't want to leave, but if I don't, I'm gonna miss my plane, and you know, I have to leave. You know, like I know that for a lot of people that's the case, and then it's possible and probable that some furries have made the stupid decision of staying there, right? Anyway, the feelings I guess every furry gets when a con is over and you must return to your day-to-day life again. It's new. When I first saw all the fursuits walking around, people with tails hanging out, people hugging as a greeting, cuddling in public, it was sort of magical. I couldn't believe it was happening, and now that it's over, it feels like waking up from a wonderful dream that you were having and didn't want to wake up from. And again, it's not hitting me very hard. Like, it's insane to think that I feel this much loss when comparatively it's not as bad, right? Had I enjoyed my stay here more, it for sure would have been worse. Today, I didn't really stay any time at all at the con. I went to one panel hosted by Bardic, and that was it. It was alright. Him and his co-hosts were talking about content creators and answering audience questions about content and stuff. I only got to do that since I didn't wake up early enough to do all this stuff I needed to get done. Shower, pack my luggage, and enroll in the classes I needed to enroll in. Whatever, I digress. We skipped that part. I skipped showering because I didn't have time for it. After the panel, I grabbed a burger and left. I took a longing last look at the convention center, at the fursuits, as I took off my badge symbolically and put it in my bag. One last look of goodbye. Feeling so dods already. The travel back wasn't eventful, other than giving me time to stew in these feelings and digest them as I put them down on paper. I really liked my stay, and I'm already thinking about next year. Day 1 was good, and day 2 was meh. So my final enjoyment, my total enjoyment was riding on day 3, which was amazing. to continue my recount of day 3's event. Event is a great word for it, actually. I planned on going to many of these. There wasn't much time when I wasn't doing something, so the whole time I was having a blast. The fursuit parade was nice. I took so many pictures. The fursuits are super adorable, and it just makes me want one that much more. Then there was the E621 game show, which was incredible, immensely funny, and a ton of fun to attend and participate in. Questions like Beastars versus Undertales, Dogs versus Cats, Lucario versus Gardevoir, and many, many, many more questions, of which most of them were a lot more degenerate than these. Were things that happened at this panel. It was fucking incredible. To give it a side note, a couple of other ones were a couple of the other questions that happened. The game show happened like this. It was like they selected 4 random people from the audience, or people who volunteered, and then they would go in front and they would write their answer on a little whiteboard, and they would say which one of the two options they thought did it. And then whoever got the most points at the end would go to a final round where like 4 finalists got together and competed for the final. The last person got crowned the most degenerate person in the room and got a little trophy. It was really cute. And some of the other fun questions were like, which is a Protogen's favorite port type? And they were like USB, HDMI, and Ethernet cable. And they also the people wrote down their answers. And then the guy was like, how many Protogens do we have in the room? And then some people raised their hands. He walked up to one here and he was like, audience survey. You as a Protogen, what is a Protogen's favorite port? And he was like USB. And everybody, every like person had USB as their answer, because it is the correct answer as I think out of those options, I guess. You could be USB-C, I guess, if you want to be fancy.
USB-C or 3 or USB 3.
No, that's too much. That's too much. Okay. No, you like the okay. Factually, if a Protogen's favorite port is that. Another question that was really funny. The last question from the E621 game show. The for all the marbles, right? How he asked, how many people in this room are into vor? And he he was like, all right, write your answers. And then he was like, nobody would raise their hands. And then he was like, all right, people, raise your hands if you're into vor. And then a lot of people raise their hands, or some people raise their hands. And then he was like, okay, so now people who are embarrassed to raise their hands because they're actually into vor, but you're embarrassed to reveal that to your nearby friends, raise your hand as well. You don't have anything to worry about. And then like 5 or 6 other people raise their hands. And then they answered, and the answer was like 79 or some shit. Like out of the 200 people that were there, that was a pretty large like percentage. To be fair, that was really funny. Like there were so many other degenerate answers, like so degenerate questions, like is there more art on E621 of the Lion King? As is it feral or anthro? And then like questions like that, like fuck, so many different. There was so much. It was so fun. It was so fun. That event was so fun, and this happened on the 3rd day. So obviously I was having a blast. Like it was the first parade into the E621 game show. So already my day started like super amazing, right? All right. Next, I spent a little bit of time at the dealer's den while waiting to go to the Necronomicon queue. And I waited next, I waited there a bunch, but I wasn't too peeved about it. There we go. So the dealers then obviously where you buy stuff. I just spent like another 30 minutes seeing if I wanted to buy anything else. Obviously, a person there described the dealer's den and the furries going there like as a swarm of locusts. Like the furries fucking go in there, swarm everybody, consume all the shit that people have to sell, and shit out money. That's like how going into the dealers then felt like. and it was correct. And so anything, if you want to buy anything, if there's anything you want to buy, you have to buy it. You have to try to be the first person there, and you have to buy everything as soon as you get there. Because if you return later, or return the next day, it's gone, and that's what you have to like count on. Also, yeah, let me water my mouth hole.
The only artist I knew that was at EF,
I met them.
Huh?
Tell me who it is, and I'll tell you that I've met them.
I don't remember how to pronounce his
Werthrop.
safe for work name.
Werthrop? No.
No.
What's their not safe for work name?
It's kind of inappropriate. Are you okay with
Yes.
me saying a bad word? Okay, their inappropriate name is Gatorfucker. Gay Gator.
Oh, that guy! I don't think he had a stall.
He had, but he said he was in the dealer's den.
Oh, was he? Wait.
I was curious.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I need a safe for work name to know. As in, I might have seen him and got shit from them, but I don't know. But yeah, I made a point of making it to the main event of the day. The main event being the event that happened at the main stage, which was a furry play called the Necronomicon, a thing about like high school students who summon a demon. And that's the TLDR. Oh yeah, I have there's so much I want to talk about. Okay, but I read the newspaper for this day, and they have a good summary of the play. So I'll read you the summary of the play from the newspaper, and then I'll read you my recount. Actually, no, I'll do it the other way. No, I'll. Which order would you want this to be done in? Hello, Gage. Hold on. Would you want to hear my summary or the summary of the newspaper, the official con summary? Mine is shorter, I guess. All right, I'll recount the thing. Always horny is the title of this article, and it says, after their triumphant premiere at EF26 with their first play, Efficient Ships, the Furry Drama Company took to the stage again with their newest creation, Demonormicon. In the whimsical story set in the Hot Wolves school for magic, the luckless protagonist, Timmy, is struggling with his lack of both magical talent and popularity. In a desperate attempt to garner at least some laurels, he attempts to summon a demon on his own, a dangerous act clearly out of line for school regulations. Due to his tragic lack of magical talent, though, he instead summons the incubus Horniferian, or Horny for short, not in corporeal form, but instead a secondary consciousness directly into his mind. From there on out, things just spiral even further into chaos. The show started with a phenomenally atmospheric choreography introducing the theme of the story and the actors. It was followed by multiple dances of similar refinement used to punctuate the pivotal beats of the unfolding comedy. Yeah, it was a comedy, by the way, to be fair. The acting itself was superbly evocative, given that all the actors were wearing fursuits. As many of our readers will know, First Paw, displaying emotions convincingly and believably in a fursuit is a challenge all on its own. The characters themselves varied between delightfully, if not to say comically evil, and equally comically incompetent. Maybe the only true good-hearted pupil might have been the foreign exchange student hero, hailing from the land where fighting skyscrapers-sized monsters is apparently left to high schoolers. Very macro. The writing was filled to the brim with jokes, both in dialogue and visual jokes too. The whole piece, even the most emotional scenes, always carried a humorous undertone. This might have been to the detriment of the characters' consistency and story cohesion at some point, but that is surely a matter of taste. Yeah, I didn't think that. In the end, all the different threads of the story came together in a beautiful conclusion choreography, and everyone was happy except for Francine. who was the main villain. Not only did Timmy and his demon finally admit their love for each other, Francine's former lackey, Lavender, rebelled and found her own romantic conclusion with the jock wolf Teddy, who suffered from a baleful lunar condition that transforms him into a hairless simian on every full moon. Even Laconi Professor Kane got his happy end. Taken all together, it was a truly enchanting and uplifting experience, and a worthy continuation of the strong reputation the furry drama community won with their first play. There were also no technical hiccups noticeable to the eyes of the layman, an especially impressive feat given that this was their first and probably only performance in this piece of the big stage. Finally, it should also be mentioned that the furry drama community is looking for further team members living in Berlin. If you're not close by, consider supporting them on Patreon. Yeah. Ahem. Sounds like some Bara manga. It does, and it was, except like all of them were in fursuits and they weren't Bara. It was really funny. It was amazing. It was awesome. Like there's so many puns. Let me do my recount now that I wrote down. The show itself was incredible. Oh my god. It was fucking great. Some of the highlights of the show off the top of my head are when the demon was summoned, the Timmy yelled out, "A demon!" And the demon responded, "A furry!" That was fucking... that was like... okay, you know. The romantic subplot between the two side characters, the dumb hamo jock and the nerd, was top tier. Yeah. Like, oh, it was so good when the evil, like popular female person, was like, "No, you can't do that to me," and she like walked up to the nerd and the jock like stood in between them and it was like, "Lay a hand on him and I'll tear that hand off." It was so romantic. It was so good. Oh, they're gonna edit it and probably send it to us. It was amazing. The gay awakening of the main character. The main character suffered from the syndrome every high schooler ever who is gay suffers from I need to date the hot, popular girl. Why? Because that's what you just have to do. And then he realized he was gay because they went into his own mental space where the demon was, and he learned how to dance, and they hugged the demon and they admitted their feelings for each other. Fucking amazing. Again, oh my god, the interludes between scenes themselves were also incredible. Like the scenes between, like when the screen is dark and everybody's quiet and we're just kind of like waiting for the people to put shit into the stage and take it out, right? Firstly, because of all of the furry, very very furry puns they had, because they had like a little like screen where the narrator like explained the transition of the scenes. But also because, like, so for example, like one of them was like, this was a school, right? So he was like, "All right, now that you've settled into your seats, time for a pop quiz." And then they put a bunch of questions like, "This is a question that has raged for millennia. Pause or Moz?" And they're like, "Correct. Why not both?" was the answer. You know, like shit like that. And additionally, secondly, also because like whenever there was everybody was dark and we were just waiting for the scenes to change, people would just start making random animal noises. Like people started doing the fucking like Ugandan knuckles sound. The whole fucking audience did it. Like people started wooing once. People started mowing as cats. It was incredible. Like you think this is cringe, right? Like as I describe it this way. But like being there and everybody's fucking doing it and you're just surrounded, it was amazing. Like it's that kind of shit that like made the convention like amazing. Okay. The references. Oh my god, there were so many references. They were so juicy, so corny, but very like when at the beginning stage when they were establishing the fact that Timmy was incompetent at magic. The magic teacher was like, "You will not pass your final exam if you continue doing like this," you know. For example, there was many more. Oh my god, when the demon tried to teach Timmy how to flirt, Timmy did the exact scene in Spider-Man Across the Multiverse, or into the Spider-Verse, where Miles like puts his hand on Stacy's shoulder. He's like he just puts it slowly there. Yeah, it says, "Hey." That was fucking amazing. Oh, so many references, and it was so good. I think they're still editing and trying to prepare the play from last year. So yeah. So I'm not holding my breath to wait for them to release the play for this year. Overall, the play was kind of cringe, very stereotypical and corny. I'm not gonna lie, but in a good way, a great way. The way that reminds me of all the fun and quirky parts about the fandom. The relatable cringe moments of being a furry used to show that it's for fun and not weird, or at least weird in a great way. Like, yeah, like it was very good. The play was like 4K, 4 hours. The play was like 4 hours, so it lasted a lot. And there was multiple breaks. There was two 15-minute breaks in between, in the middle. And that night, I decided to go all out and drink alcohol. So I tried to drink cocktails in between each of the scenes, and maybe hopefully get wasted. My plans for after the play were to hang out in the main lobby to listen to music and maybe participate in the karaoke, or furryoke as it was called. I did for a bit. Baja, who was a friend of a friend of a friend, offered to buy me a drink. I think he was also slightly tipsy, to which I said yes. No other guy had ever offered to buy me a drink, so I wasn't going to say no. Plus, drinks were really expensive, and I wanted more. So, if somebody's going to buy me like a 15-euro drink, again, I'm not going to say no. I also wanted to get food. It was midnight, and I hadn't had anything yet for dinner at that point. Also, Alex was getting hot, and who was the person I was hanging out with, and he wanted to hang out outside of Koloff. I found a bunch of rats. An impromptu gathering of rats happened, and they seemed to be wanting to also hang out and talk about rat stuff. They were like talking about how they scavenge for garbage, literally, to eat. Very literally. They have in previous years asked like the venue if they can buy their fucking leftovers. And I'm like, that's hilarious, and I am jealous, and I want that, but also not this time because I had no other plans, right? They offered me some alcohol. One of the guys had some expensive Canadian whiskey they poured me a shot of, and another dude had a jug of what they called mead. I still wanted to get more drunk, and I didn't want to say no, so I said yes, even though I know it was a bad idea. You should never accept stuff from strangers. But I did it anyways. You only live once. We then went to McDonald's to get food, since it's the only 24/7 open place around, but they were closed, so I didn't get any food. Not having eaten dinner and having drunk a bunch of alcohol did a number on me, and it felt like I was pretty drunk. Lightheaded, warm, the room was spinning a bit, you know the drill. It being past 1 a.m., it was also a good idea to call it a day, especially since I wasn't feeling the absolute best. I did hang out a bit more after that with my friends, with the friends I met along the way, and ended up leaving a little bit after 2 a.m. Overall, a great day, and with room for improvement. Because again, if I had people to hang out with, this would have been 10 out of 10 con. It was my first convention, so I think it went as good as, not as possible, but as good as I could make it. And it was, I would probably put it at 9 out of 10. 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. And I also wrote down Eurofurence 27 things to take away and final verdict. I wrote basically like a summary at the very end of this huge document that I wrote, explaining. Magical. Point 1. Magical, surreal, life-changing. These are the words that I would use to describe my stay. I was expecting to not have a good time at all. I basically knew nobody, no one. A con will go as good as how many people you meet up with and hang out with, so I was very scared and nervous. Thank you so much to Alex Peter, because without having met him at the registration line of all things, literally the first thing you do at a con, I would have had an immeasurably worse time. Through him, I met Kipper, Zornamith, and Baja, and several other people I got to hang out with through the con, and it was made my time an amazing one. Second point, VR chat. Oh my god, there are so many furries in it. I mean, I knew intellectually again, but seeing them in person hits different, especially when you consider that it is probably a surefire way of meeting new people I can meet at next year's convention. Point number 3. I will try to go to next year's EF. I guess it goes without saying, but I might as well mention it. 1.5k should be enough for everything and to also buy things there and food, etc. That's a lot of money, but if I save throughout the year, it's probably very feasible. Fourth point, fursuits. Seeing them, just anytime I saw them, put a smile on my face. Hugging someone in fursuit is transcendental. Like, holy fuck. I was not expecting that. The times I hugged a fursuit, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I can only imagine what cuddling with one would be like. Oh my god, because I didn't get to cuddle anybody. That's not exactly true. I did get to cuddle Kipper, which was one of the friends I made, but only a little bit in in some grass. So yeah. There's no way that I can get 5k euros for one, not without a job. It's somewhat crazy to consider that I would consider that to be one of my first big purchases I would do as a fully fledged member of society. When I do eventually get a job. It's kind of crazy to think about. And so instead, I have to make one. I don't imagine sculpting one would be that hard, but I don't know how to sew. And that's like the main skill used, so I need to learn. And yeah, I need to, I guess, as Minty said, I need to message this Portuguese fursuit maker. Because I think there's more than one. I think there's probably 2.
There's probably a few more. It's a matter of looking.
Yeah. You know, that's what the Telegram and Discord chat are for.
Yeah.
And lastly, and also I kind of wrote this like half-assed at the end. I didn't get laid. I wasn't expecting to, but I was hoping it would happen if I found random people. I even considered going to Hamburg's red light district because apparently they have one. I looked it up. But I think that's something that requires not only more time to plan, but also a buddy to go with. I'm not about to go to a fucking country where I don't speak the language and go alone to a place where like sex happens and people disappear. No thanks.
Yeah, you might want to reconsider that first, because it can be very dangerous.
Exactly, which is why I didn't.
You might want to first up build a bunch of connections
and also plan. You know, and just planning.
A lot of condoms.
Yeah, obviously, but yeah, I did.
Safety first.
I'd go there without anyone.
Excuse me, Gage?
I said I might go there without anyone.
To the red light district, or just to the furry con? To the furry con. I mean, again, it's a bad idea, but you can do it, and it's probably not recommended.
I never said it wasn't a horrible idea.
Okay.
But a lot of my ideas are horrible ideas, and
again, I recommend against it.
There's actually for these normally these conventions there's always Telegram.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like I don't know, this happened. I thought about this like after the fact. Like you could just use Growler or
what's that?
Wait, is it Growler? No,
it's
Barker. There's also Barker. But the fucking dating app, the gay dating app, like 100%, you would find like 1 trillion people there. You could be like Grinder. There we go. I said Growler. Growler is like a fake one that exists, that doesn't exist. I should say.
I thought Growler was like Grinder, but for furries.
I think that's Barker.
No, it's not.
Growler is for werewolves, so it doesn't exist, obviously.
No, Growler's for is like a bear thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was this was an after the fact thought. I should have done it probably, but I didn't. It was fine, You know, I wasn't expecting. I was just kind of like hoping that would kind of like naturally happen, but I didn't go looking for it, so you know, it didn't happen.
Let's see. But yeah, usually conventions, they do have like a Telegram group where people can chat, and
I tried looking for it, but I didn't look very hard, so.
yeah, you might want to try to ask in social medias who's going.
I did. I basically, okay, but the extent of my research was a couple weeks ago. I posted something on my Twitter being like, "Yo, I'm going to EF. Is anybody else going?" And I didn't get any replies. So
if it's on Twitter, that's not gonna happen.
I could have done
it's
for
Twitter.
I know. I could have done for Affinity. I could have pushed it a little bit more on Twitter. I could have linked it with a picture.
Exactly.
I just didn't do.
Hold on.
I just didn't do a lot. I know. Look, I know what I did wrong, right? And now I know what to fix next time. I'm glad that I just did it like off the cuff of my sleeve. I just kind of didn't plan anything. I just kind of bought my ticket and went, and I still had a good time, which is a great sign.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you have the blues that is skies?
Oh.
This guy?
Several people have asked me already, and I've answered no every time because I don't.
Do you want to?
I do.
I can give you my first code when I get it in like a week.
I can actually give you
a
code.
Yeah, right now?
Yes. I have one, apparently.
I'm still, yeah.
Oh.
Like, Patchy was the first one to like, offer it to me, so I kind of feel like I would betray him if I accepted it from anybody else.
I mean,
Okay.
I would have already offered, but I didn't get Blue Sky till like last week.
Yeah,
and
same
only
for
because
Patchy.
a friend gave me a code.
Yeah, like, you and Patchy got it in the same wave. Like, people get them in waves. And yeah,
You're gonna wait for the.
I'm gonna wait for Patchy. Thank you, though.
Okay,
Thank you very much for the offer.
Oh, like,
Okay,
No,
what
no,
do
okay,
you
Patchy
do?
said no. No, I want it from you, Patchy. Fuck you. Yes, I need I will probably stop using Twitter if I get Blue Sky, and if I notice that I can follow most of the people that I've been following on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm also on the Blue Skies.
Because I heard that now ART you post after September or October, after September ends, will be able to be used for AI generated shit, and I ain't having none of that.
I think they said that was actually only going to be used for advertising, and so they were only fear mongering that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
but
you
they
know,
were
if
saying that they were
that was just it was just fear mongering. Like,
if
people
they're
do
fear
every
mongering,
year.
you know, they've been
Only-
fear mongering for 2 years or like a year since Elon took charge. So you know, all right, I'm gonna hold on before we continue this conversation.
But
I will finish.
Blue
I will.
Sky
Yeah.
does have a lot of great artists. Some of my favorite are on it right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. All right, I will finish
Like-
discussing my stay in Eurofurence. So yeah, those are the takeaways that I do next year. Plan on having a better time by meeting people beforehand, planning. Getting a roommate feels like an essential thing, right? Maybe getting a room for 3 people instead of 2. No, maybe just 2. I don't know. I got a room for 2 people, and it was cheapish. It was like 600 euros, which for a hotel that's right next to that, right next to the convention, and it's for a room for 2 people, that would have ended up being 300 for me. Just for me, that's like insanely low. I think, given everything, you know.
Question: the next Eurofurence, will it happen around September or something?
I think that the normal time is like late August, early September. I think it normally happens at late August, and it's what I was expecting. But they had a lot of complications, and I think they pushed it to the date that it was.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could, in technicality, depending on the on how my life goes. I mean, if it goes well.
Look,
and I
the thing
manage
is,
to save-
First of all, do it no matter what. Number one. Number two, because it's worth it to like leave your life in ruins to go one. I'm almost not kidding. Almost.
If I can get the time off, I'll go. And I have the money that won't leave me in like financial ruin, but
Again, don't actually do it, but also furries will. The reason why furries have so much money is because instead of like, you know, buying food or rent or healthcare, they'll instead spend it on a $5,000 fursuit and a $3,000 convention. You know, that's just how furries work. So there's
some are tech though. Some are in tech.
Wait.
a lot of them are in tech, which is yes, most of them.
I should be able to.
You are in tech. I'm possibly gonna be in tech.
Yeah. If you get in tech, we can tech.
Exactly.
You can be a big tech rat.
Okay.
I'm
that.
not in tech.
Yeah,
I'm in education.
Yeah, look, obviously, no, but like a lot of the percentage of like higher educated furries is like very high.
And I can't even be.
Doctors and everything.
Yeah. Regardless. Yeah, my takeaway is that I need to do a little bit more planning. Get a roommate. That would be amazing. That would like fix a lot of my. That would band-aid fix a lot of my issues that I had.
Roommates.
And what else? I guess that's it. Like, the two other takeaways. I should try and get into VR chat sooner rather than later. Because you can just.
Ooh, I'm.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have VR chat now. I got it when you were gone.
Fog.
It's
It's on. It is on my brother's Oculus Quest 2, though.
Oh, I don't have an Oculus Quest. I'm just using it. I'm just gonna use it as a computer until I do eventually maybe get an Oculus. And that's number one. Number two, I should look into making a fursuit. Like, again, I feel like making one. Obviously, I can't buy one. I can make one for like 500 euros potentially, which isn't that cheap, but also not as expensive considering the cheapest partials are like 1,000, right? So, and I know that I can do I can do like 60% of it or 50% of a fursuit fairly easily. The other 50%, which is requires sewing and stuff, is what I don't know.
You're gonna have to ask someone to teach you how to sew. Actually, learning how to sew in general might actually be useful. I mean,
Just as a general life skill, I know, I'm aware.
I mean, you can ask a parent or grandparent. It's like, can you teach me how to sew? just in case if something happens to my pants. That's the excuse.
I think. Look, I think I might. I remember from my like early kid days, my mom having a sewing machine. I might be imagining it completely, but it's possible that I have a sewing machine laying around my house.
You're gonna have to ask though.
Yeah, I will.
Repurposing the sewing machine. That was great.
But yeah, I'll have to.
You may need to also do some manual sewing because there.
Yeah. No, I saw a tutorial, but it's like the top tutorial, you know, and it's really comprehensive. And she like made the fucking fursuit and stuff, and yeah, it required both. But I think I've manually sewn stuff before, badly, but I have, you know. Look, I'm a dropout medical student. I've done sutures already, okay? And that's not how you're supposed to sew shit, I'm aware of, but you know. I digress. Yeah. Those are like the 3 takeaways. That I need to meet people and get a roommate. I should probably start using VR chat just in general to meet people and furries and maybe get involved in the space a little more. And finally, potentially make a fursuit. Potentially. Like, I feel like that's a multiple month ordeal, right?
Yeah. I do say if I do end up going to the con, I'll hit you up.
Yes, do. I actually
Same.
yes. If I actually I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I guess I would probably do like a Discord post or something. But like when I
Yeah.
tried to when I decided to, first of all, I'm going to the next convention. I don't give a fuck. I'm going.
Yeah. Okay. If I end up going, I'll hit you up about it.
Yes.
Uh,
It is
so we
worth
can
it
plan
is worth
something.
it. It is worth
Also Pete as well. Because I want to see Pete's concert. He played at the convention.
Wait, he did?
Yeah, it was the Overworked Animals, which was a charity event.
This year?
Yeah, yes.
Fuck, I didn't go to that. I left. I left before then. Oh! That makes me so upset. That makes me so upset.
No.
Fuck, I wanted to go to that event. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
you
also that. There's also that.
You
There's
could
also
have
the.
also messaged Pete to hang out too.
I don't know who's going.
Pete's definitely always going. He lives in Germany,
Oh, right.
so
He's a dolphin, right?
he's the dolphin. He's a dolphin jerk, and
Oh,
he like he's got a fursuit.
I know.
And everything.
I don't think I saw
But-
him in fursuit. Or maybe I did.
I think he might have gone fursuit. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. But
Look, if you have a fursuit and you go to furry cons, you're stupid. Why would you? What the hell are you doing with your life if you're not taking it to the? What the hell? Why would you have a fursuit?
yeah, he definitely. I'm pretty sure he brought his fursuit. Yeah, he actually brought.
I might have seen him and not recognized him.
Yeah,
That's probably more likely.
It's a dolphin dirk with hair and.
No, I think I
also
did see him.
horns.
I did see him, and I was like, "Is that? Nah, it's not. It can't
You
be."
should have said hello. Like that. This is a no. There's a few Portuguese furs there.
I met a couple. I don't remember the name of the guy. Hold on. Where's this picture? Do I not? Is that not one of the pictures? Oh no, because it has my face in it, and I didn't put any of the pictures I had my face in. Right. But I did take a picture of one of the first. All right, but yeah, that concludes my story hour. You've heard most of my experience. You guys have any questions any like burning evergreen questions that you want to ask me?
You didn't go to the puppet show event, didn't you?
No.
No. Yeah.
Is there any hot dads during these events?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Are you kidding me? It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Then I better put my hunting gear when I go there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I go like, "Hi, I'm looking for daddies," and
The thing
looking
is,
for
you
my
and everybody
dad.
else. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing, Mint. You have to bring your fucking A game.
I have to bring
We
my
just gotta
A
split it
game.
up a little bit more. Maybe.
No, like not even like okay. I don't know. But like the thing is, yeah.
I just have to look adorable.
No, I mean whatever works for you. If it works, it works. But yes, you can probably definitely
look
meet.
adorable.
But yes, Astron or Pokenerd, you can definitely hit somebody up literally to just stroke their beard. I saw so many people with glorious beards. I saw a dude who had like a braided beard up to his like belly button.
Oh no.
You're like, oh fuck, wait, that sounds amazing.
Squirrel's hair. Introduce me.
I only saw them. I didn't meet them.
Introduce me anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, stranger. This person
Look,
really
look,
wanted to
Astron.
meet
Half of them are
you.
German. Okay, half of the people who went there are German. Does that explain it
And-
mildly?
And what about it?
They have glorious beards. They have glorious Nordic.
I have never heard. I guess German is. I don't actually know where all Nordic stuff is.
Is Sweden and Norway
Sweden.
and Denmark, kind of a little bit. Finland. But yeah, but like Germany is right below that, you know. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I know where to go now.
some of the first from Sweden and in the north would also go to.
Yeah, obviously.
Eurofurence, yes.
I'm actually kind of curious. Who is considered right now as of today has the best beards and like the best country for beards rather?
Vikings.
No, country, not people.
The Vikings are Norse, and Norse are Norwegian and Swedish.
Okay, but they disbanded. They're like gone.
It means
don't exist
current
today.
age.
Yeah, but they're-
like
Yeah.
Their ancestry has led to them having the most glorious beards. Is what I mean.
yes, but
Okay.
I think what it means is contests. Does each country have a vote on who has the most glorious beard?
Yeah.
To the point of Europe, who has the most glorious beard contest in Europe? Even.
I was thinking like who's considered like what is the best countries considered for beards? Is what I should say. Like yes, there is the Vikings. However, I don't think their ancestors have beards.
Their descendants,
As
they
well
they
as
do, they do. That's the thing.
Oh, okay. I went to look up beard contests.
Yeah.
There's some beards. Oh my god.
You know they have a lot of weird beard contests. We'll have like where you have like interesting shaped beards, where you have like shaped beards that will turn their beards into cages or like weird shit or pinwheels and a whole bunch of other things.
Some of these beards are like tentacles.
Yeah.
Cthulhu ones.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna end my recording.